I was of the fortunate few who recovered. There are 300,000 children under 5 who die from unsafe water every year. It gave me perspective and it made me realize, because 15 years after I got sick, I was privileged and empowered enough as a student at Williams College and at the University of Akwo, so that no 7-year-olds from my village would fall ill from contaminated water ever again, and to give them a better shot at dating life later down the road.
So, yeah. Thompson, a lot of people are probably wondering exactly what these units are. These are basically boxes that you plop down in a community and unfold the solar panels. Tell us exactly how it works.
That's right. So think of the 4 by 6 feet metal container that you can fit 3 of in one 20-foot shipping container. And the idea really was to bring together pre-existing solar panels, water extraction systems, storage and monitoring in one easy-to-deploy unit that could be installed in under 7 minutes. And that's a lesson I learned from doing the first project myself, which took 4 weeks. There was no way in hell we're going to be able to change and take on the global water crisis at that point solar powered. 2, it removes 99.9999% of bacterial contamination to give people a better health outcome. And finally, they've got these remote monitoring units. So what that means is, as donors and partners, you can sit back, open your cell phone and say, look, I gave Hamza $100 last year. This is the exact impact that he's been able to deliver, because the units are monitoring water delivered, the quality of the water, and giving a chance to our community and our staff to proactively go fix these communities and the water solutions before the community is out of water again.
So you can use rainwater, you can use pond or lake water, you can use well water. The versatility is just amazing. So getting back to our topic that we started with at the beginning of using data and scalability, this has proven scalable. You've got 100 units now, right? Just about? And let's talk about the numbers, because this is like one
of the first project, right? Because it took 4 weeks and because it took 15 different contractors and thousands of dollars, we took a step back and said, look, we want to create a solution which is far more scalable, because at that pace, even if I did a project every single day, the maximum we'd be able to achieve is 12 projects for the year. Now we're at a stage where we're going to scale to 100 projects by the end of this year, and next year our capacity is 500 clean water projects. And costing works out this way. One project, start to finish, takes $10,000, which includes drilling and the transportation and everything. The unit price of the Oasis box is in fact $5,000. And it can produce up to 20,000 liters of safe water every day. And what that means is it's clean water for up to 10,000 people every day. Let me say that again, because that's $1 to give one person clean water for 25 years.
You're surveying Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. You're surveying remote areas of Pakistan. What is it like when these villages in these areas get clean water for the first time?
So it's quite powerful. I mean, if you take a step back, Bunda Shams has provided almost 50 million cups of clean water in the last 7 years. In Pakistan, Bangladesh, South Sudan, Yemen, Afghanistan, in fact, we're soon planning to be in Arizona to work with an example of off-grid, last-mile communities that lack access to safe water, but also electricity. So you need something which brings the two together, which is what the Oasis box does. The Rohingya refugee situation is a little bit different, because that's the context in which 1 million people escape the kind of tyranny that you and I couldn't possibly imagine, to end up in camps where 62% of the water is contaminated, right? So this box is really a first glimmer of hope for a lot of these communities, because in essence, you're fixing decades-long problems, within 7 minutes, and it becomes a catalyst for better health outcomes, for higher literacy rates, as well as for greater income opportunities for women in these communities.
Thompson is just amazing. In the late 1970s, some Rotarians said we need to solve the polio issue. A lot of people said, you guys are crazy, it'll never happen. 350,000 people a year were dying from polio. And because of the hard work of this organization and Rotarians for decades who've delivered polio vaccine, we're like right there, 2 countries, just a just a handful of cases left. 1.2 billion people who struggle to get clean drinking water is an astronomical number. Do you think we'll get there? And do you think this project is going to be a key way we get there?
So, Mark, I know my muscles are deceiving, but I'm not Superman. So we're not going to be able to do it alone. But if we work together, I think it is absolutely possible. Right? Think of it this way: if we only have 200 Rotary chapters represented today decide to sponsor one project each, we could turn this 10-minute conversation into clean water for 1 million people. That's the power of scaling that we're talking about. And I think it becomes extremely powerful because we're taking on one of the biggest crises in the world, right? And we can't be scared. This is the planet we have to protect. This is one we're going to lean in on, and we need to just work together, work through the numbers, rely on the data, and then just get stuff done.
So let's just wrap up with that final thought. I know a lot of you are planning projects, have executed projects all over the world. What's a good bit of parting advice, Hamza, about how to assess a project from a data standpoint to make sure we're going down the right path?
So it's a great question. I think there are a couple of things I'd say. One, the wealth of data available now is a little bit different from 10 years ago. Now we have excess amounts of data. So the challenge actually is to figure out which piece of data to rely on. And that can only really be done in coordination with local communities. But the second piece is we need to work together. Because what you'll find is there will be 10 other partners who think alike, who focus on the right metrics, same issue, and who want to work together to take on the same problem. So then it's taking a step back, assessing the data, working together. And secondly, and I think this is a key piece of advice which I've had to give myself time and time, when you talk about taking on these big problems, there will always be people who tell you it's impossible. Right? There will always be people who say, look, hand pumps have existed over the last 2-3 centuries. Why do you think you can be the kid who disrupts that market? Or when you go and say, I'm going to install clean water projects and only Pakistan is going to do it, and the advice there is, it doesn't matter. Because we'll come gather behind you, and then water, and it is possible, and that's where I believe.